This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Rameca Vincent Leary and welcome to this edition of inStudio. Food insecurity is a serious issue that's plaguing our society in monumental ways. Many households struggle to put meals on the table as they face limited quantities or uncertain access to food. During this edition of inStudio, we'll explore several local agencies that have made it their mission to help those hunger pains dissipate by providing much-needed nourishment to the masses. Their efforts are far-reaching and life-saving. Stay with us. We'll have more details right after this. Welcome back, everyone. During this edition of inStudio, we'll be speaking with representatives from several life-changing organizations: Pensacola Caring Hearts, Pensacola State College Food Pantries, and Escambia County Food Service. But first, we'll focus our attention on Manna Food Pantries. I'm happy to welcome the organization's executive director, DeDe Flounlacker. She's joined by one of her community partners, Leslie Hunter-Huff, Executive Director of Boys and Girls Clubs of the Emerald Coast. Welcome to both of you, ladies.
Thank you.
You're looking beautiful this evening. Now, DeDe, I cannot help but notice a basket of food in front of me. Food insecurity, such a monumental issue locally and globally. Expand a little on that, please.
You know, it's hard to believe, but tonight in our community, 1 in 4 children will go to bed hungry. And that's just unbelievable here in Pensacola and Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. But those children are going to bed hungry because their parents don't have access to healthy food. And that's where we see folks who come in and need our help. And this basket of food is just a sample of some of the food that we need right now, as a matter of fact, and a sample of the food that we give away.
Speaking of Manna Food Pantries, how long have you been in existence?
Oh, gosh, we have been in existence over 35 years, so we've been in the community a very long time. And we've started shifting our work, doing more work with partners like Boys and Girls Clubs and other great agencies in the community that are doing very important work with people, case management work. And so the food is an asset that they can use to help people, to lift them up.
We'll get to the Boys and Girls Clubs in just a moment, but DeDe, tell us what's in that beautiful basket. So when someone comes in and they need food, I see some oranges that look delectable, but talk about some of the other items.
Absolutely. Well, when we give out a bag of food, we're giving out 5 days worth of food, and it's per person that we're giving. So if you have 4 people in your family, you're going to get 4 bags of food. And we actually pack our bags based on USDA standards for healthy diet. So all those 5 major food groups, we're putting those in your bags. So what you see in the basket are some fruit, and we really ask people to give us canned fruit in its own juice if possible. The reason we're picky about that is just because there's so many diabetics in our community that we see. So we also need oatmeal, which is very important, whole grain cereal. We've got some canned vegetables in there too, like beets and turnip greens, those kinds of things that are very important. And last year, we helped over 20,000 people in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties.
That is amazing. I will get back to you in just a moment, but Leslie, you partner with DeDe in so many ways. The floor is yours. Let's hear it.
Well, I think the most exciting part regarding Boys and Girls Clubs and Manna Food Pantries is the vicinity. They literally are less than a mile from Boys and Girls Clubs. And so that gives us literally an opportunity to reach out, go visit our friends, and to be able to help them. And then also some of our children, we'd like to take them over so they can provide service to Manna Food Pantries also, go in and do some service projects for Manna. And so we've had a wonderful partnership over the years. I'm just delighted to be able to say that Dee is my friend.
Oh, yes.
And when we have young people who come to our club who have issues with food, that I can call her and say, I got some young people who need food. Can you help them?
One of the most popular partnerships is the Tummy Bundles program. Talk about that a little bit.
So out of a few conversations a couple of years ago, some agency heads, Dee and myself, got together and started talking about what could we do for young people at Boys and Girls Clubs who were exhibiting signs of being underweight. Many of the children just aren't getting enough to eat nutritionally, especially when they're home on the weekends and they don't have access to school food. And so because of those conversations, we decided, you know, we want to do more. What can we do more? And Dee was like, well, we can put together some type of weekend food program so that when the kids go home on the weekend, we don't see them, they can still get healthy foods. And we started giving them 7 meals to last them the entire weekend. So when they come back on Monday morning, they're not hangry. They hadn't spent the weekend wondering, you know, am I going to have something to eat? And am I going to be ready for school the next day? And so it has really been wonderful to watch our children benefit from not having to worry about basics, food.
Montclair Elementary School in Escambia County really benefits so much from this, correct?
Yes, exactly. So Montclair students who attend Boys and Girls Clubs are the direct recipients of our Tummy Bundles program. And so even their siblings have an opportunity to get food items. And so many of the families over there, high poverty rates, many of them are working poor who struggle with making ends meet. And so when we have Tummy Bundles, that's one less thing that mom or grandma or foster parent has to worry about. They don't have to worry about, am I going to have something to cook in the morning? They're going to have something nutritious. And it's things that even if they're living with a disabled parent or guardian, the children can fix on their own. It's things that they can pop in the microwave or add some shelf-stable milk and fix the meal themselves. And so we try to think about what can we do to make it easier on the parent or guardian, and what can we do to make it easier on our young people who need this food.
And I'm sure you've heard from both students and parents. Tell me some of the things that they have said. I know fighting hunger, monumental, as we said previously, but life-saving, right?
Of course, definitely life-saving. So of course, children don't think about life-saving.
No.
They're just thinking
Sometimes
about,
they
I don't have to worry about being hungry. And so a lot of times children nowadays might get consumed with, you know, my mama doesn't have enough money for bills, doesn't have enough money for Christmas gifts. And so sometimes many of our children understand mama just doesn't have enough money for us to get food. And so for them to come to us and say, I'm excited, looking forward to getting Tummy Bundles. They don't want to leave Friday without getting their bag. I mean, they are looking forward to it, and they're always looking for, you know, what do they peeking each other's to see, okay, you got that, let's trade, I want that.
That's funny.
But they are excited about it because it just takes off the burden.
It
they
does.
know that they have something to eat. And then the parents, they don't have to worry about, will I have enough? That will I have enough, that's out the door. And so I'm just excited to be able to have that to offer to them as a resource.
And I'm feeling the energy. Absolutely, Leslie. So, DeDe, back to you. Manna Food Pantries, let's say I'm a viewer and I would like to make some donations. I can donate my food, as you have stated here, but what else?
You can actually donate your time, and you can donate, of course, money always. And if you're interested in donating food, you can go to our website and visit what our most needed items are. We do specialty food drives too, so like for Tummy Bundles, there's very specialized food that we put in there. We don't give the children metal cans because they could cut their hands on metal cans. So we do those soft tops. But there's a lot of ways to get involved with the work that we do. And last year, in fact, we had nearly 7,000 volunteers give 16,000 hours of time.
16,000. So call for volunteers. I know that people can go to your website, but are there other means in which they can do so?
Absolutely. So they can give us a call at 850-432-2053. They can come by Manna. We at our new location at 3030 Northeast Street too and visit us. We would love that. And then they can go on our website at www.mannahelps.org to find out more about what we are and who we help.
So less than a mile apart, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Hey, more information about the Boys and Girls Clubs, and I did a little bit of research. One of my favorite actors, Denzel Washington, was a part of it growing up as a child.
Yes.
Shaquille O'Neal, Hoops Action, right? So a lot of famous faces.
Yes, indeed.
But Give us an overview of the organization and what it offers.
So Boys and Girls Clubs, I always like to tell people that it is not a daycare, because a lot of people think I can drop my baby off, go to the supermarket and come back and get them. And so we really have structured programs at Boys and Girls Clubs. Right now we're in our after school program. We also have a summer program, and we focus on 3 areas: academic success, good character and citizenship, and healthy lifestyles. And so all of the children that come there, they're assigned to a group that's assisted by a caring adult who just loves children. We have certified teachers who work for Boys and Girls Clubs, and we help them with their homework. We've got a tech lab, a library, a games room, a gymnasium, and it really is a club space. It's a home away from home. We do field trips, college tours, you name it, because we really try to expose our children to things that they ordinarily wouldn't get a chance to. And so everything from sailing to fishing to you name it, we try to do it with our children.
Cool.
Because we want them to know, we want them to be productive members of society. I talked about service earlier.
Yes.
We have a Keystone Club and a Torch Club for our middle school and high school students. We've got kids there ages 5 to 18. And we want them to know how important it is to serve our community, to not always say, I need, but to give.
Give back.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
to give. Even with our Tummy Bundles programs, we even have our children, they like to design the bags that the Tummy Bundles come
good.
in. And so over the summer, we had our children doing the coloring so that they could have a part in something that, even though it benefits them, they can still play a good role in it and give. And so for me, we just try to make sure that the children know that you can truly be great. Great futures starts at Boys and Girls Clubs.
Now, is the facility open 7 days a week, 5 days a week?
It is open 5 days a week.
5 days a week.
Monday through Friday, immediately after school until 7 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and until 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So how would one join? Would a parent sign up a child? How does the process work?
Yes, so a parent comes to us, guardian, foster parent, sometimes a caseworker, and they say, we have a child that wants to come to Boys and Girls Clubs. We've got 2 sites. The Montclair site, it is just for elementary students who attend Montclair, but our main site located at 2751 North H. Any child from any school in Escambia County is allowed to come. We pick up from a couple of schools, but if mama, daddy, whomever wants to bring them, they are more than welcome to join Boys and Girls Clubs.
Leslie, one thing that I really like that you mentioned is the fact that you have partnered in so many ways with DeDe. DeDe, talk about the collective partnerships with a lot of the participants in the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yeah, you know, it's really great. I mean, Boys and Girls Clubs does amazing work with children, and they're working with them on those healthy lifestyles and education outcomes. And so we're blessed to be able to partner with Leslie and her team to run alongside them and have that food as a resource to help that child. That's one of 7 partnerships that we actually have right now in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. We have Westminster Village, which is a low-income housing area that we're providing monthly food to senior citizens, mostly 70+ years old. We work with the Santa Rosa School District, and we are actually providing food to unaccompanied youth. Those are kids who are homeless, are not in a relationship with their parent or guardian, or they have emergent needs, and so we do that as well. Gulf Coast Kids House, Santa Rosa Kids House too, so we're providing food for those families as well. Very, very important to us to work with our partners who are doing important work in the community. They're doing that case management, they're doing that care management with that child, with that family, to lift them up from where they are now and help them get up further. And so we're just thrilled to be able to have those partnerships.
Now, with all of your volunteers, can you think of one resounding volunteer testimonial?
Oh, yes, I can. We've moved into our new facility, and it's a very humble area. We have an old warehouse that we renovated, and so we were working out of construction trailers, and and some open air warehouses. And so when we moved into our new area, everything just changed for us, and it's a much more stable environment. One of our volunteers, who was actually, I think, ready to quit, and he had been volunteering with us for a decade plus, said to me the other day, I love this location, I love this space, I love what we're doing. And I think that's really indicative of the people who help Manna so that we can meet the needs of families and children in our area.
And Leslie, we're going to end with you. All the smiling faces and, oh, no more hunger, right? So for a parent out there that's thinking about the Boys and Girls Clubs and hasn't signed up a child, what would you say?
I would say they can call me anytime
Call her.
at 850-438-0996. I'd be willing to give them a tour. A lot of times parents just need to see the space
They do.
and just get the feel to make sure, is this a place for my child? They can ask us questions about what our schedules look like when it comes to helping our children. But we would be more than happy for a parent to come and take a tour.
All right. Thank you, ladies, so very much. Appreciate you. Folks, as we head to break, get those pens and pencils ready. To find out more about Manna Food Pantries, including how you can become a volunteer, log on to the website, www.mannahelps.org. You can also find out more about Boys and Girls Clubs of the Emerald Coast by visiting the following website, www.emeraldcoastbgc.org. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, everyone. During this segment, we're spreading the love through Pensacola Caring Hearts. I'm honored to introduce Fannie Finkley, the organization's president. She's joined by Christopher Finkley, founder and public relations manager, including volunteer Joan Benjamin. I'm thrilled to have all of you on the show. Fannie, can you start by giving us an overview of the organization?
Okay, my name is Fannie Finkley, and I have an organization, Pensacola Caring Hearts, 501c3. And our mission is to make sure that no one has to go hungry in Escambia County and Santa Rosa County. We also we do mobile food units.
Oh, okay,
that's a tractor
interesting.
and trailer load of food. We do 2 or 3 of them a month. We go into neighborhoods, low-income neighborhoods. We go into trailer parks where people cannot get out and get food.
Mobility issues,
yes,
right?
we make sure that those people get food.
Well, how long have you been in existence?
We started 2012.
2012, fairly new.
Yeah, about 6 years now.
So the tractor trailers, do local organizations donate those tractor trailers? Do you have maybe companies that donate food?
We
They're
get
transported?
sponsors.
Okay. And some of the sponsors are?
Different churches and different organizations.
Very good. Now, Christopher, founder, PR manager, might I ask you what grade you're in?
I'm in 11th grade.
Okay, some interesting things about you. 4.0 GPA. Which high school do you attend?
I go to Lighthouse Private Christian Academy on 9th Avenue, Pensacola, Florida.
So, volunteerism. Someone carrying a 4.0 GPA has a lot of homework to do, but yet you find time to do this. What drives you?
Well, it's just the love and companion that people show towards us. Like when we give them food, they're just so excited about it, and it's empowering to me to do that for other people.
All right, I'll be back with you in just a moment. But Joan, you're actually a volunteer for Pensacola Caring Hearts, and we know that you help so many people. First of all, how did you find out about the organization?
Actually, I was working for a radio station, local radio station here, and I met Miss Fannie, And she started telling me about the organization. I love to do volunteer, and I thought, why not help with a volunteer, or, be a volunteer for an organization that help feeds the homeless,
Right.
and help put food in homes that are low on, food. And so I thought Pensacola Caring Hearts was a great organization to join. So
How long have you been a volunteer?
since 2014 or
That's
13.
good.
Yes.
Your first day, can you recall? Where did you go? What did you do?
We did so many. I don't know if I can
A lot,
remember
right.
the first one, but I do know that we did do one at the main. Did we do it at the church? We did a couple. We did at church one time.
Your brother's church.
Yep, we did one at my brother's church, and I was just so excited, but I was overwhelmed by seeing all the people coming in that
Many
needed food.
people in need.
Yes.
So during that time, were you distributing food? Okay.
Yes.
But Fannie, I know when you and I had a conversation, we talked about some of the things that people can donate to Pensacola Caring Hearts. So aside from food, mention the other things.
Well, we need a truck or a van where we can transport food from Escambia County in Milton. No, Santa Rosa County.
Okay.
Yeah, there in Milton. We get our food from there.
So transportation is something for your 501c3 nonprofit that would definitely be resourceful in the future. Do people donate clothing items, or is it just food?
Oh, no, we get food. We get clothing. Yeah, we sure do.
Now, Christopher, back to you. As a founder, right? I know that you do the PR for Pensacola Caring Hearts. What are some of the mediums that you use? I know that you have a Facebook presence, but how do you get the word out?
We also have our website, PensacolaCaringHearts.org, and we really maintain our Facebook page to where we make sure everything goes through Facebook page. Well, actually, the website and the Facebook page are connected. So if you don't have Facebook, you can always go to the website, and it'll have all the latest updates from Facebook on our website.
How do people your age, in addition to Facebook and the website, find out more about Pensacola Caring Hearts? I know that you're a high school student. You probably network a little bit, don't you?
Well, we do. We network with people in our neighborhoods and local agencies. It's really a lot, but it's really worth it in the long run.
I'm sure that it is. Now, Joan, you have volunteered alongside many people. When I went to the website, I saw a lot of public officials that have decided to lend a helping hand. And I know it also makes you smile when you see that, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, it does. It does.
What about the senior citizens that come and receive the food? I'm sure that they have a story or two that they have shared with you. Can you recall an instance where maybe an elderly person has received that gift of love from you?
Well, we have a lot of elderly people that comes out, and what I hear most is how thankful they are of us being out there to be able to help give out food to them. And so we do hear a lot of stories of them not having enough food in the home, and so I hear that a lot from the elderly.
Now, homelessness is such a serious issue globally, Fannie, isn't it? And I know that you do a lot to help the homeless. Can you talk about that?
We do. We feed the homeless every Tuesday, starting from 3 to 5. Holidays, we give them a big dinner.
It's great.
And it's always a home-cooked meal. It's not a sandwich or anything like that.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Hot meal.
Yes, and it gets bigger and bigger, We may start off with 50 and wind up with 100.
All right, so they know that on Tuesdays.
Oh, yeah, and they know they're going to get a hot meal at Pensacola Caring Hearts, where a lot of people that feed them, they don't. They give them like a sandwich or cold drink or something like that. But we give them a hot meal, and we eat along with them.
That's great.
Yes.
Do you have any grocery chains that donate food to you?
We do. We have a lot of friends and different churches and stuff like that. They donate.
That's
Yes.
just amazing. Very encouraging,
Yes,
isn't it?
It is.
Christopher, back to you. A lot of times people eat, and honestly, sometimes people might eat a little too much and they want to burn off a few calories. I know that you have some recreational activities in the community that you've fostered over time. Can you mention some of those recreational things?
Well, we deal with a lot of children as well. Like, we make sure that they have food in their home as well, to make sure that, just like the back program, we make sure they don't go home hungry on the weekends. We always make sure they always have a bag full of food to eat on the weekends, to make sure that there's no food insecurity, and to make sure they're not lacking food when they go back to school the following Monday.
That's absolutely right. Let's talk about recruiting more people to Pensacola Caring Hearts. And I know that you're a volunteer. You have a great testimonial that you shared with me momentarily. But how about rallying the troops? Do you do it in churches, civic groups? Talk about some of the other ways in which you can get these volunteers to jump on board.
Yes, so a lot of times I tell my friends, I talk to a lot of different pastors in this area, and we just ask that as many volunteers come out. Pensacola Caring Heart is a good organization to help volunteers, so if anybody looking to volunteer, this is a great great organization to help volunteer. But I love spreading the word about just going on Facebook, posting a lot. That helps get a lot of volunteers out.
I'm sure that it does. Do you have any specific partners or organizations that you would like to mention that have really helped you tremendously? And you haven't been in existence very long, but look at all the awesome things that you have done. Pensacola Caring Hearts. I care, and I know it might bring a tear to your eye, right?
Yes, we're partners with several organizations that support us because they love what we do. And the reason why we're called Pensacola Caring Hearts is because what we do it from the heart. You know, and to become a member, you have to have a good heart.
Speaking of big hearts and loving, there is a special story that you would like to share regarding your son Christopher, and you have the floor.
Well, Chris is like a gift from God. When he was born in 2002, there was other families there was planning on to adopt him. Okay. But for some reason, the mother came up and said that she changed her mind about adopting. It was like, God, what am I going to do with this baby now? You know, we was in the hospital. So I took the baby and I decided I'll keep the baby for a few days. But I wound up going before the judge and he signed him over to me. So he's been with me 15 years now. I realize he's a gift from God. You know.
Absolutely, such a caring heart, and what an amazing individual. Let's talk about your plans, your aspirations after graduation. Have you thought that far ahead?
I have.
Okay, let's hear it.
I want to become an international lawyer, and I would love to study in Germany.
Why Germany?
Because it's the spot for if you want to become an international anything, really. But I really want to become an international lawyer.
Amazing. One last story from you, Joan. You have probably heard some other volunteers share some amazing things. Give us one example.
I think the one that I can actually think of is being a volunteer is when you don't have enough food, but you got so many people in needs. And that's one of the hardest things about being a volunteer, when you start to run out of food and cannot feed everybody. But then you can go home and know that you help feed, give food to most of the, the homeless people or the people in need of food.
Isn't it important, though? A lot of us work jobs, right? Busy, busy, busy. People talk about how busy they are. But when we take the time, Fannie, to give back, some may say pay it forward, right? It not only helps that other individual, it also helps us as well. We each have a purpose in life, don't we?
You do.
And your purpose has been with Pensacola Caring Hearts, among other things, but your journey has been great. May have had a few bumps in the road, There are things that you need as an organization, but you've always stood right there.
Oh, yes.
Never give up, right?
Never give up.
Always have hope.
Oh, yes.
Always have hope. And one last thought from you, Christopher. As a volunteer as well, I know that you do a lot around the office, structurally, PR manager, but have you ever had a volunteer maybe come up to you and discuss with you how much being a part of Pensacola Caring Hearts has meant to them?
It's always, you'll have one volunteer that will come up to you and talk to you about it. And it really does help us because structurally, being a PR manager is a job that takes time, and it has definitely helped me as well because I have so many volunteer hours, and it's just like, wow. But in Pensacola so far, and Santa Rosa County, and following counties, different counties in Florida, we have fed over 150,000 people in this area and surrounding areas. In our years of existence, we fed over 150,000 people.
Definitely covered a lot of ground helping combat food insecurity. So for our viewers watching there who are thinking about lending a helping hand with Pensacola Caring Hearts, what would you say to them?
I would say this organization is most needed for volunteers to come out and to help feed the homeless. We have a lot of homeless people in Pensacola. So I would tell you, if you would like to be a volunteer, this is a great organization to join.
Do you often have families volunteering together, little kids
Yes.
handing out food,
Yes,
fixing
we have.
plates, serving up meals? It happens, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it happens all the time. Yes.
I would like to say it's been a pleasure to have all of you on the show this evening. Love is definitely in the air through Pensacola Caring Hearts. Thank you so very much. And folks, to learn more about Pensacola Caring Hearts, just log on to the website, www.pensacolacaringhearts.org. Indeed, one person can make a difference, and you can be that motivational force to help combat food insecurity. We're back, and during this segment, we'll focus on Pensacola State College and the food pantries located on 2 of its campuses. I'm happy to welcome Debbie Douma, Dean of Grants and Federal Programs for the college. We're so honored to have you here this evening. Thank you so very much. Now, Debbie, I understand that we just opened a brand new food pantry at the Century Center. Would you talk about that?
I would be happy to. It actually isn't quite open yet. We just received a grant from the International Paper Foundation.
Wonderful.
And the funds from that grant will go into purchasing the supplies to install. You know, we've got to have somewhere to store the food. Yeah.
Yes, it does
Yeah, we
take
hope
time.
that we'll have it up and running soon, but that announcement was just made about a week ago.
So how did this come about? I know that we'll talk about the Pensacola State College location right here, but how did this come about with Century?
Well, we realize that there's a need for students at all of our locations.
Absolutely.
And so the Century site is so far away It's an 84-mile round trip. So if you've got a student that is having some food insecurity issues, then a gas tank, a tank full of gas,
up one vehicle.
That's going to be a problem. So that was really the next place we went to rather than one of our other closer in campuses. There is the food pantry already located here on the Pensacola campus. So when the opportunity came up to apply for the grant with International Paper Foundation, we decided that was the location we needed to go to next.
And I do understand Bob Colkeen, the general manager here at WSRE, Jill Hubbs here at the station, was also on hand.
Yeah.
And I know it must have been an exceptional moment for all of you.
Yeah, WSRE won a grant for one of their early childhood initiatives that they've got going on.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's backtrack a little bit and talk about food insecurity in general. And I understand that you have some telling information to share with us.
I do. The college, we're very, very interested in our students in retaining them to completion so that they can finish their program and then get a job. And we realize that it's the whole student that is being involved, not just their academic needs. So when we looked at it, just some national statistics that 56% of all first-generation and college students, and those are students that no one in their family, their parents have not attended school before.
Exactly.
56% of those students are going to suffer some form of food insecurity. At Pensacola State College, 52% of our student body are first-generation in college students.
That's a large percentage.
Yeah. And we knew we've got some case managers on campus, we've got our student conduct, we've got other personnel that have been with these students and have heard these stories. So when we had an opportunity to write a grant almost 2 years ago with Campus Compact, that's when we put in the food pantry on the Pensacola campus.
Speaking of the Pensacola campus, who was the brainchild behind that on the Pensacola campus?
I worked with Samantha Hill, who is in our student activities office. She had the idea and came to us and said, we need to find some grant dollars for it, and that's our job in my office. So we found a small grant. It doesn't take a lot of money, but it's money that's not included in the regular college budget, so we've got to find it somewhere else.
So who is serviced by the pantries?
It's students.
Just the students.
Right now it is on a referral basis, but those referrals can come from anyone. They can come from a faculty member, some other staff member on campus. And there's a little bit of form that the students fill out, but it's not difficult. We want to make sure that we're meeting their needs.
Now let's say a viewer wants to donate some items to either pantry. What could they donate? What are some of the items that you would accept?
Right now we're only accepting non-perishable.
Okay.
We don't have refrigeration. The college is closed on the weekends and over break, so we can't keep foods that aren't, non-perishable. But we do there are occasions when we have students that are also homeless. We have a homeless population, so they've also asked for, in addition to the basic things you think about to donate to a food pantry, the canned goods and box goods, some of those microwavable items that if a student's couch surfing from one couch to another, that's where they're spending the night, they usually have access to a microwave. So they do like getting things like that also.
And speaking of those who may be homeless, what about coats, jackets, blankets? Would you welcome items like that?
Yes, they always, we have a couple organizations that do different drives throughout the year. I believe right now we do have our warm clothing drive going on. They also take items like personal hygiene.
Okay, that's good.
Paper products even.
So grant writing initiatives, and I know that you do a lot of that. Yeah. Can you expand on that and maybe some of the things that you have done to help other organizations seeking grants?
Sure. We are the community college. We are Pensacola State College. We have baccalaureate programs now, but we still feel like we've got a community mission. And the first thing I look for is, can we find a partner in the community that will be on a grant for us? Or if I come across a grant that might be good for another organization that we're not going to be applying for, I make sure I forward that out to someone. You've had other guests such as DeDe Flounlacker. We've shared opportunities with them before. I've done quite a few grant writing workshops in the community. I recently did one for Pathways for Change, and they've been very successful in getting some grants. If those grant dollars are available, if they're not coming to the college, I want them somewhere here in Pensacola. you know, in our community, in our 2 county service areas. So we want to share the wealth.
I like that philosophy, and also maybe a positive story from a grant recipient. And I know you've seen a lot of smiling faces in your lifetime, right?
Yeah, we have. I know one story in particular that really affected a lot of people. We had a young woman who was on the verge of homelessness. It was a single mom, and one of the larger grants we had here at the college helped her go from being almost homeless. She started in the CNA program. She went all the way through our nursing program and is now working and making a very good income. And it was grant programs that helped her not only provide for tuition, but also for uniforms and daycare and transportation, so things like that.
Debbie, we always like to have a happy ending, and thank you so much for what you do for the college, the community. Such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Rameca.
Thank you so very much. Folks, up next, we'll explore what's being done to help combat food insecurity in local schools. We'll be back in a moment.
There are over 42,000 children under the age of 5 in Northwest Florida. Many of these children will never have the opportunity to go to preschool. Thanks to quality educational television programs and WSRE's Imagination Station, these kids are developing critical early learning skills. Any decrease in funding will impact our ability to deliver PBS Kids programs like Wild Kratts, Daniel Tiger, and the Odd Squad. These programs introduce children to science and nature, teach them about the world, and show them that learning can be fun. Most importantly, they connect with children and share a message about caring, friendship, and individuality. In the immortal words of Mr. Rogers, there is no person in the whole wide world like you, and I like you just the way you are. There's no other place in the whole wide world like PBS Kids. If you like us just the way we are, please call in with your donation today and say to all, I love WSRE. Thank you.
During this segment, we're shifting our focus to the Escambia County School District with a primary focus on food service. It's a pleasure to welcome Jaleena Davis, School Food Service Director. She's joined by Liz Gilmore, Culinary Academy instructor at Booker T. Washington High School. Plus, we have one of Liz's students, Ke'Shaun Hernandez. Thanks to all of you for being on the show. Now, Jaleena, when you think of food insecurity, especially in reference to students who need proper nourishment to thrive in the classroom, what comes to mind?
Well, here in Escambia County, we have a really high poverty rate within our school district. And so for me, when I think about food insecurity and our students, for some of our students, what they eat with us is the only food they get. So they have breakfast and lunch with us, and those may be the only 2 meals they receive that day.
So let's break this down so that everyone can understand. We don't want any child to go hungry, just like you said. So free lunches, reduced lunches, can you give us the parameters, please.
Yes, well, currently we have 40 plus schools in our district where they participate in the community eligibility program. And what that does is it allows all students enrolled at those schools to eat meals for free. They do not have to submit an application. Simply by being a student at that school, they can have any of the meals that we have available for them. In addition, at the other schools within the district, anybody that is in need can complete an application. We have an online application process for quick processing and eligibility gains, and they will be determined free or reduced. So they will either get a free meal from us or a reduced meal, which is 30 cents at breakfast and 40 cents at lunch.
All right, so what if there's someone out there that's been a little apprehensive, and I know that you mentioned signing up, a parent that thinks, well, I don't know, should I do this? What would you say to someone like that?
Apply.
Definitely
if you think that there's a chance, absolutely apply, because you don't know what the criteria is. So you enter your information, it's your income, the number of members in your household, and that's really all we need to determine if you're going to be eligible for free or reduced lunch. Because it is online, if you're worried about other people knowing, you don't have to do it at the school. You don't have to pick up a hard copy application. You just need to find the internet. You could do it from your phone, a library. A lot of the students have Chromebooks now that you could use to fill out the application. And some people are worried about others knowing their student status.
Some, okay.
Well, at our schools, there is no overt identification of the students. All the students come through the line, they all punch their number in, and then based on their status, they are given the price of the meal. So no one will know if your student is free or reduced.
I understand that. Now, Liz, back to you. We understand sometimes that when it comes to lunch, okay, is it going to be a healthy lunch? What's on the table for today's meal? Give us an overview of what students can expect, either free, reduced, or otherwise.
Well, they have great options in the cafeteria if they select to choose one of those 3 different options with veggies and fruit, all that there. At Washington High School, we do also have the Cat Shack, which is headed by Decca and by Mrs. Ross, and our students as well that provide healthy options such as smoothies, quesadillas, taco soup, chicken salad. So we've got a wide variety at our school of options.
So let's dispel the myth. Just because we hear free and or reduced, it doesn't mean you're going to have a smaller portion size. You're still going to get the same amount that Johnny gets. Am I right?
Of course.
Absolutely. What are some of the things that we can see for lunch, some of the options? If I were to go through the line, what could I get?
We have salads, sandwiches, pizzas. Ke'Shaun, your favorite?
Oh, we'll get to him in just a second.
Pot roast was high on the list, I heard. Yeah. So we've got lots of good stuff. Like I said, we're fortunate in the sense that we have multiple areas the students may purchase from, you know, if they're not feeling one side or the other. So
if you're a meat lover and or a vegetarian,
right,
you definitely have it covered.
Exactly.
Now, Ke'Shaun, you are a student at Booker T. Washington High School under the tutelage of your instructor, Ms. Gilmore. What grade are you in?
I'm a senior this year.
Okay, so what prompted you to become a part of the Culinary Academy?
Well, I've always liked to cook at home, and once I saw there was an academy there at the school, I was like, I'll try that out and further my knowledge in the culinary world.
Speaking of cooking at home, some of the things that you like to cook at home that gave you an idea to become a part of the academy?
I cook meatloaf, mac and cheese, corn casserole, a lot of things.
So all those great meals help you on the soccer field, am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're into sports.
Yes, ma'am.
And you know you need to have that sustenance. Because if you're going to learn, if you're going to play sports, you need to be healthy. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Jaleena, back to you. Let's talk about the vast array of student testimonials that may pour into your office from time to time. Because to be honest with you, when you mentioned that there is no form of identification for a student who's on either a free or reduced lunch program, I think that's very important because we understand how sometimes kids look at other kids, and I like that factor. But what have students told you personally?
you talking about what kind of
Yes.
foods that they like to eat. The parfaits are very popular with our students. Of course, you have the Old Faithfuls, you know, the popcorn chicken, the chicken tenders. We've started doing a lot of bowl options. So we have a popcorn chicken bowl that we offer. We have some Asian food options. So we try to offer a variety. And particularly at the high school, there's 3 to 4 entree options a day so that we can make sure to have something that the students would like to eat so they're well nourished for school.
Food insecurity, we know it's a local rather, and also a global issue. Have you ever seen a child walk into the cafeteria that looked hungry?
Absolutely.
And what would you actually do in a situation like that?
Well, particularly on Mondays, as you would imagine, they've gone the whole weekend in some cases and not had anything to eat. And so those students do come in and eat breakfast with us, and of course lunch. And at a lot of our schools, we've even started share tables. So if there's students that have extra food that they don't want to eat, they're able to put it on these tables so that if there's some other students still hungry, they can get additional items.
I like that. So Liz, making healthy eating appealing. Talk about some of the various ways you do that.
We do that by just continuously introducing these items to the students. We all live in a world where high fat and sodium content in our food is a normal occurrence. So to get them to try things that have less of both of those is a little bit tricky. So that's why the color spread, if it's fun colors and on a stick, they tend to enjoy it.
So up front, yogurt parfaits, all right. When I lived in Hawaii, we used to see these a lot when I was a child. So I love the cheese, the fruit, the kiwi.
It's a very simple thing, but just having those in the fridge ready to go where the kids can just grab one out and eat at home even, just a little snack ready to go. It's fun and it's yummy, so.
What brings you the most enjoyment as an instructor?
I love the aha moments. It's when we're doing something and you just all of a sudden see it and they're like, oh, yes, that's it, that's it.
The light bulb goes off in a person's head. Are there any items, and don't worry, I'm coming back to you, Ke'Shaun, but are there any items that students just love to prepare? You
Anything
got many
with
requests.
cheese. Anything with cheese. They love cheese. If we don't have cheese, can we add cheese?
Extra cheese. Ke'Shaun, that extra cheese helps you on the soccer field. I'm sure it does. So, your impact on friends and family. Talk about that a little bit. What you have done.
Well, we've made like different ways to show people that maybe it's not as tasty as other things, but it'll make you live your life longer and succeed more in the classroom and out of school.
So if you were to spruce up some items, let's say zucchini. Let's say you ran across someone that said, I don't know about that. You said, let me make it appealing to you. I'll show you how. Have you done that?
No.
Maybe not with zucchini. It would have been with squash or another vegetable, correct?
Yes.
What kind of impact has Miss Gilmore had on your life over this time span in which you've known her?
She's furthered my knowledge in a lot of things, not even just cooking, but to be a better person and to find new ways to make things and new techniques I need to learn and how to further my knowledge until when I go into college and major in hospitality and tourism.
Can you give me one aha moment that you've had in her class?
She takes anything and she can make any design out of it, like just anything she puts her mind to, she can do in front of us, and like we're all just surprised on how she can do that.
Doesn't surprise me at all, Liz. Not at all. So, Jaleena, I understand that you and Liz do have a close relationship, and talk about that a little bit, because I know that you are oh so grateful that you have this opportunity to work with students at Booker T. Washington High School. So please.
Ms. Gilmore came to the school district as a cafeteria manager, which was nice because she had experience at different school levels, serving the kids, and it made for a great transition into her culinary instructor position, having that background of the mass feeding, as well as her restaurant background.
Speaking of which, Liz, how many years in the restaurant industry, your family?
Almost 20.
20 years. So then you decided to branch out. Where did you go after that?
Came to school food service.
Okay.
Went to O.J. Sims and Jim Allen in Molino Park, spent some time there, and I saw this position come open, and I thought, man, I think I can actually do this. And I love kids, and this would be so great. So I went,
and there you have it. So let's talk about some of the things that you may do for Booker T. Washington as a whole, and maybe in other areas such as community organizations, volunteer work, spreading the love for nutrition.
Well, I've just been at Washington almost 2 years now, so we're still getting going. There was a program there before, but we're reaching higher. So we've started now have OJT students in the cafeteria that work. So they're at school and they're learning skills, earning a paycheck, which is great. And then we have, we're collaborating with DECA and Mrs. Ross to get our kids a really well-rounded experience there. So we're catering for football. We do all kinds of after-school activities. We host advisory council meetings, and I believe we're fairly active. So,
sounds like you are. So, Ke'Shaun, after college, what are your plans? Well, high school, college, but after you graduate from college, do you want to become an Iron Chef or maybe a professional soccer player? Do you know?
Well, if I'm going to try both, I mean, I'll be a soccer player, but I need to have something to back up on. In hospitality and tourism, I can further on and maybe get my own restaurant and help out and like Miss Gilmore, teach kids how to do new things and to cook different things.
So any words of inspiration for our viewers out there who may be wondering or maybe noshing on some potato chips right now? Hey, let me grab an apple instead. Maybe a carrot, maybe some cheese. What would you say?
I would say give it a try, and it's not as bad as it looks.
Because you can make it look beautiful, right?
Of course.
I know that you can, Liz, all the examples that we've heard. So, Jaleena, we're going to end with you. I know that you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, you've probably hugged so many students that have been nourished, and they probably said, thank you so very much for what you do. But we can all do something, right? We can all make a difference. Education is essential, and why is that regarding food insecurity?
Students that are well-nourished are able to learn better. So when you look at students, sometimes they're struggling because they're hungry. They can't focus on what the teacher is saying because they're worried about their next meal. So with us being able to provide them at a minimum breakfast and lunch, it really helps them in school.
All right, well said, and many thanks to all of you. As we close the show, we want to thank all of our guests for joining us. Food insecurity is such a monumental issue, and during the show, we explored numerous ways in which it is being addressed. Folks, we appreciate your viewership. I'm Rameca Vincent Leary. Have a good evening, and remember to keep it locked in right here on WSRE, PBS for the Gulf Coast.